Well, we're sitting here in Mariana truck stop. We're parked. The bedroom slide is out. It's Joni's birthday, and I just thought I'd give her a treat and take her to Louisiana style Popeyes restaurant for dinner. But first, I've got to take a shower. And so I thought I'd do the works. I'm going to do a full shave, go into the shower, put on my clean Levi's and a new sparkling t-shirt, and we're going to celebrate her 55th anniversary birthday. Well, maybe not anniversary birthday, but as she calls it, her speed limit birthday. Coming up on RVstreet. Okay, well, you can see that we were having some fun that night. I mean, it was Joni's birthday, okay? So it was fun. This video is when we left Florida after being there about 5 months, and now we're headed back to Texas. We had to take care of some personal business, do our winter maintenance, and then we were going to head south to RGV. Now, to put this video in context, Hurricane Michael had just went through Florida, through the panhandle. It came in at Mexico Beach, went up the panhandle, across I-10, and on up through the eastern states. And I actually went online, and they did clock it. It did, when it hit the coast, it was 155 miles an hour. So here we are, coming home now, going westbound on I-10 through the panhandle, and we're about 85 miles north of the coast, and we just couldn't believe how many trees that we saw down.
Yeah, and this was 3 weeks after the fact.
Yeah. I-10, you could see where it was totally impassable. I mean, as we were driving through, you could see where the cleanup crews, right after the hurricane went through, they had taken chainsaws and just cut the trees that were falling across the highway right at the stub there. And there was just stubs all along the way.
Yeah, right on the edge of the road. They were just trying to get the roads cleared.
Thousands of them.
It was crazy.
And I didn't get a picture of this, but Joni said, we'd look out the side of the window on the side of the freeway. She said, Martin, look. And you could see miles of trees that they all had snapped right at the same height.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because it was like somebody took a chainsaw about 3/4 of the way up and just cut them all off evenly.
Yep. It was the most peculiar thing. About 30 feet up, and that's all you saw was just miles of stubs. And then all those branches had fallen, and now we're hanging over into the freeway. Now, as we were going down, heading westbound on I-10, everything was closed.
Yeah, everything.
The rest stops were closed. Nearby RV parks was closed.
All the rest areas, there wasn't any rest areas open for miles.
Yeah, and we had to travel several hundred miles to get, I mean, we needed gas. Okay, so we had to kind of go farther beyond than what we wanted to in our first leg. We were getting tired, we were getting hungry, and so we finally ended up at a TA truck stop. And besides that, besides needing gas, we were hungry and tired. It was Joni's birthday, and we needed a place to bed down. Everything else was closed. We saw this truck stop, and we thought, let's stay at a truck stop tonight. What better place? What better time? Let's experience what this is like.
Now, little did we know that this Mariana truck stop, it had just opened the day before. I mean, it had been closed since the hurricane.
Yep.
And they opened that up, and there was a ginormous portable generator out there that they had running the facilities. They also had a bunch of porta potties all in a row out there. And there was also, which I've never seen before, was some hand washing sinks outside of the porta potties.
I have never seen.
I thought, well, wow, why don't they have these everywhere? Porta potties are.
I've never seen a thing of porta potties. Then I walk outside and there's like a little hand washing station there. But yeah, they had been running on bare bones until the day before. Right before we got there, they'd been running generator electric and porta potties. They didn't have water. Now, since they were just now coming back online, we did see some activity. People were actually getting gas and diesel. They were going in and out of the store, getting supplies and that type of thing. And one of the mornings that we stayed there, the next morning, what am I saying? It was the next morning. We stayed there that night. The next morning we went and had breakfast. And the waitress that served us, she lives just south of us, towards the coast.
Yeah.
And she said, man, she says the damage down there is so bad it'd make you cry. She said whole areas of businesses, Walmarts, hardware.
People's homes.
Yeah, everything just wiped out, just down to the foundation. She didn't think that, well, she first said it'll be years before it ever gets back to normal, but she kind of doubted that it would ever, that some of these businesses would ever rebuild again. It was so bad.
So we pulled into this TA and we found a place to park. We thought, great, we're just going to pull along the sides and not take up a parking space that a potential trucker could get into, because we know that's their living and they need to rest. And we thought, it's a great little area out of the way.
So we parked at the very back along the curb thinking, you know what? We're not going to make anybody mad. This should be good.
We thought. But as it turned out, as the place started filling up later on in the evening, as it got, later, they started filling up and trucks were having to make a much wider swing to get into their spots. And Martin was outside and he happened to notice this, and he came in and he goes, well, let's pack her up, Joni. We're not sitting here.
Yeah, it didn't look safe to me at all. I was like, you know what? If we stay here in the back along the curb, we're liable to get hit, and we're going to really be an obstruction for these guys to swing out wide and come into their spots. So we started walking the parking lot, and we found a spot pretty much in the middle of the parking lot that had these spare part pods. They were sitting there on the ground. The spot right to the left of them was open. I thought, you know what? We can pull right alongside that pod, open our bedroom slide, and even though we're taking a truck stop spot, at least we're opening up that curb and we'll be safe. And as it turned out, it was okay.
And it was a really big parking spot. I mean, there was a lot of spots for truckers to pull into, so we felt pretty good about it.
Now, once we parked, we showered and got all cleaned up.
Because it is my birthday.
Had a couple drinks, as you saw. Yeah. I thought I'd treat her to a special Louisiana Popeyes chicken dinner. Because they had a Popeyes right at the front of the TA truck stop, that right there on the end. They had that. So we went and got that, brought it back.
Oh, but wait. So there's two for me that I had never done in my life. I had never eaten Popeyes chicken, nor had I ever spent the night in a truck stop. So, ta-da.
Yeah. It was a great birthday.
It was interesting.
So we brought the chicken back. We enjoyed our meal. And what was really funny about after we cleaned up everything, remember, our big slide can't go out because it would be hanging out into the driver's side truck lane. So we had to keep the big slide in. So that made the middle of our motorhome tight, and which is okay, but this particular night it was kind of funny watching how we were shuffling back and forth, and Joni made a couple of comments about that.
Yeah, I actually started whining about that, to be honest. Okay, so we've walked around in here for the last couple hours, sitting at the truck stop to slide in, and it is difficult, very difficult. I would not suggest not getting a slide unless you live by yourself and nobody needs to walk by you.
But anyway, it was fun, and it was only for one night, so it wasn't a big deal. Now, of course, throughout the night, truckers kept pulling in, filling up all the spaces, and by morning it was full. And the truck that pulled right alongside of us on the driver's side, they ran their diesel engine all night long.
All night long.
Now, you would think, oh my God, that must have been horrible. Well, actually, we had bought previously, we carry with us some of those little silicone clear earplugs. We bought them at Walgreens. It was a little pack of 4, I think. She bought a couple packs of them. And they're soft. And you just kind of push them and just stick them in. Well, we did that. And it was fine. We slept like a baby all night.
Honestly, I made the comment, it is probably one of the best night's sleep I had in quite some time for whatever reason.
Well, we were tired. We were really beat. We had been driving a long time and having a couple of adult beverages.
Yeah, that probably helped.
But anyway, we slept good, even though next door was running their diesel engine. So the next morning, like I said, we went inside, we had breakfast, had that chat with the waitress, and I wanted to go ahead and top off with gas now before they got busy. We got an early start that morning, and we wanted to get on the road, and there weren't very many people using the gas pumps at that time, so I swung around to pull in there, and I could not believe what I saw when I got out of the coach, walked around to fill up. They had totally swapped the colors of the gas and the diesel handles. So I'm looking at this pump and I see a green handle for gas and a black handle for diesel. And I'm like, but it said gas behind the green side. Okay, so you got the green handle and it says does contain 10% ethanol. Then over to the left, black handle, diesel. And so now I don't even know if this is right or not. I go in and I talk to the lady. She said, oh, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, some people get confused about that. I'm like, yeah, you think?
Yeah, BP, their colors are green. So they decided in all of their wisdom to change the gas, regular gas, to a green handle, which the whole entire country knows that green is diesel.
I was sitting there. I even called Joni. I said, Joni, you've got to see this. And I'm thinking to myself, what moronic manager and top management made this stupid decision? I was just shocked.
And then we had the discussion of how many people have screwed up their vehicles because of this decision.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, we got it right. We filled up with gas and we got back up on I-10 and headed our westbound trek back to Houston, Texas. Well, when we got to Alabama, we had to go back through the tunnel, which Joni doesn't like tunnels. When we go through a tunnel, she takes her shirt and goes, tell me when it's over.
Oh, I do not. I just close my eyes.
But anyway, so we just got through going through the tunnel. We continued westbound and ended up in the heart of Cajun country at a place.
Oh, Evangeline Downs in Opelousas, Louisiana.
A horse track and casino.
That's a mouthful to say, I will say.
It's Evangeline Downs Racetrack and Casino. And they let people with RVs stay there for free overnight.
Yeah, you park in the back parking lot.
So we arrived there late afternoon. There was hardly anybody there yet. And when you get there, you got to go all the way around the side. It's a large swinging road, and it takes you down all the way to the back. And on that side, you'll see the hotel, the side entrance to the casino itself, lots of extra parking there. I think that's also where they have, what do you call those people that take your car and go park it for you?
Valet.
Valet.
Yeah, those people.
Yeah, that's where you take your car for the valet. But once we got to the back parking lot, we dry camped there for free. We parked right alongside the fence where the horses race. And they were supposed to race that night.
Yeah, they were supposed to race that night, but it was raining and cold, and
Yeah.
they canceled the races.
They canceled the races. The whole entire time from Florida back to Houston, our whole 4-day trip doing that, it rained and rained and rained. And then being at the racetrack was no exception, so they canceled it. So we went ahead and got dressed, put on some new fancy T-shirts and clean Levi's,
Oh, you betcha.
and went into the casino and
Lost some money.
and filled up on Buffett food.
Buffett food. Indeed. Les and Jimmy Buffett?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next morning, we fueled up, got back on the freeway, and finished the last leg of our trip back to Texas, and arrived in Conroe, Thousand Trails Conroe, which is our home park, as you know. We have another video of that right up there if you want to see about our home park. But we got there about 5, and of course we were bushed. Had a couple more adult beverages. I don't know if we cleaned up or not. I think we were probably too tired. Do that tomorrow morning. But anyway, that was pretty much our trip coming back. And Joni, I wanted to ask you some of your final thoughts about when we left Florida and all the way back. What were some of your comments and final thoughts on that trip back? Because I have some.
The rain.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It rained and rained and rained. And rained some more.
Yeah, and not just rain. Some of it was driving, pouring.
Like you almost couldn't see out of the windshield rain.
Yeah, and of course, 18-wheelers, they don't care. They still want to come blowing by you. It's just crazy. The toad that we were towing in our motorhome, by the time we got to Lake Conroe, was just filthy.
Oh my gosh. We actually have a white car, and it was pretty much black by the time we hit Conroe. It was awful and disgusting. Oh, I really actually, oddly enough, enjoyed the experience of sleeping at a truck stop.
Me too.
That fear is gone. It was fine. It was fine.
Yeah. I made the comment to Joni that night that we were there. I said, there is probably no other larger grouping of hardworking, patriotic Americans than a good old truck stop.
Oh, absolutely.
And, I didn't have any fear of staying there. I did wonder whether we were going to be in the way, because, and I also was wondering whether it was going to be too noisy. But neither proved to be true. So, we were all good. But the biggest thing that stuck out in my mind was the rough roads in Louisiana.
Oh my God. If we never, ever, ever travel in Louisiana again on those roads, I would be happy. I mean, seriously. It was horrible.
When we got back to Texas, everything in our cabinets was rearranged.
Everything shifted. Even down under in the bays, everything shifted.
We came around one corner. We got lost. We didn't get lost, but we ended up taking a wrong turn off, and so we had to go down a ways and make a U-turn. And so as we did all that...
My fault.
As we did all that and came back around, You know how some of those exits, when you take off a freeway, how it'll take you all the way around a 360 before you can actually get back on where you're supposed to go? That's what we were doing to get back on track. And right at the end of that turn, the road literally dropped about 4 inches. Bam! That coach comes slamming. I said, oh God, there goes our front end alignment.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt it. But it was just like that all the way back. And I was like, man, I hate these roads in Louisiana.
And for whatever reason, Louisiana has designed their roads in, like, I don't know, 8-10 foot sections. So it's like a horse galloping.
Yeah.
You're doing this. It's
for
insane.
miles. Anyway, it was good to get back home.
Yes.
And
or home as
well, into our home park. I mean, we've been gone for 5 months, and it's kind of like, okay. I tell you, I had the feeling like, okay, that summer Florida thing was a chapter, and now that chapter is over. Flip the page.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of how I felt about it. And it was good to have that chapter over. So there you have it. A recap of our trip from Florida going back to our home park in Texas right after Hurricane Michael. This is RV Street. Stick around.